Have you ever wondered why it's so easy to start a relationship, but so hard to keep it strong? After 6 years of being in a great relationship and 10 years of coaching men, I found that you need 4 pillars to make any relationship work. So I'm going to break down these 4 real-world principles that you're probably not going to hear from marriage counselors or therapists. Principle number 1. The irony of boundaries. Michael came to me because the respect in his marriage had eroded, and he didn't even know when it started. When his wife got angry, she'd accuse him, there'd be personal attacks, and she would cross lines that shouldn't be crossed in any healthy relationship. At first, he did what most good guys do. He tried to keep the peace. After we started working together, he changed his approach when dealing with these types of situations. He started calling them out calmly. No blow-ups, no lectures, just, hey, look, don't speak to me like this. If you're upset, we can talk about it, but not like this. In his case, he'd waited so long that the relationship was too far gone, and he ended up leaving. After some time apart, they got back together because he saw that she was genuinely making an effort and would make an effort if they got back together to fix the things that she was messing up before. After they got back together, he made sure to be consistent with his boundaries so history did not repeat itself. The lesson here is that the earlier you set boundaries, the less dramatic it has to be. If you wait years, sometimes the only move is to leave. But why do most men not do this? And there are a few reasons. Because they don't want to, number 1, disturb the peace, number 2, make her unhappy, or number 3, risk losing her. But this creates 2 big problems. If you don't address it, you're training her that it's allowed. And secondly, she often loses respect because she wants a man who has standards and can enforce them without getting emotional. She's subconsciously checking what the rules of the relationship are. And this is why happy wife, happy life is fool's gold. Because if you always aim to appease your wife, things will inevitably get out of control, and ironically, she'll begin to despise you for it. However, when you put your foot down in the moment, it will create unpleasant emotions, but in the long run, you'll have a better relationship. Look, honestly, gents, at the end of the day, you always have to be willing to walk away. And if you don't stick up for what you believe in, you will always lose the respect of your wife. More importantly, you lose your own self-respect and dignity. And what is more important in this life? Trying to make others happy or your own dignity? All right, so pillar 1 is about setting boundaries inside the relationship, what you will and won't tolerate. But pillar 2 is how to avoid needing dramatic boundaries later. Point number 2, the honeymoon confusion. Here's a problem that a lot of men run into. 6 to 18 months in, it suddenly feels like they're dating a completely different person. A client came to me and he said, word for word, he said, it feels like I don't know who I'm dating. When I asked him how long he'd been with her, he said 13 months. At the start, she seemed respectful, feminine, and kind. But over time, 2 things happened. Firstly, she got extremely jealous, and whenever things got stressful, she became rude and disrespectful. So what did we do? We stopped focusing on who she was when everything was easy and looked at who she was when things weren't, because that's the relationship you're signing up for. And he realized this is not what he signed up for. This was completely different behavior to what he had seen at the beginning of the relationship when he first started dating her. The lesson here, gents, is that in the first year, most people are on their best behavior. You don't truly know who someone's relationship habits are until at least after 1 year. So don't commit your whole life to someone in the first 3 months. You have to watch out for patterns over time. All right, so you vet longer, you don't rush into commitment, and you choose better. But once you're in a solid relationship, there's another trap that slowly kills attraction, even with great women. Point number 3, the roommate trap. If you live with your girl, there's a problem that no one wants to warn you about. You can love her and you can still get irritated because you're around each other too much. Last year, me and my girl started getting frustrated with each other. Nothing major, but there was just a constant form of tension. And then I realized the real issue. We just had 0 space. We lived together, we worked together from home, and we were basically together all day. And then something interesting happened because I went on a work trip for about a month. And yeah, of course, during that time you miss each other, but here's what really surprised me. When I got home, it felt like the relationship had just been completely reset. More appreciation, more patience, more attraction. And the amazing lesson here is that space isn't a threat to a good relationship. Little distance creates novelty and appreciation, just like muscles grow during recovery. If you live together, build in separation on purpose. At least 1 night a week where you go and do your own thing. You know, gym, hobby, spend some time with friends. And if possible, 1 weekend a month, even if it's just visiting family or a short solo trip. And if you both work from home, work from different places for a couple of days during the week. Because if you're together 24/7, you don't miss each other. When you don't miss each other, the relationship starts to just feel a bit stale. And this isn't disappearing or playing games. You just tell up front, look, I want us to stay strong. And because of that, I'm going to keep my routine. A healthy woman will always respect that. All right, now we've covered boundaries, vetting, and space. The last pillar is the one that most guys completely ignore, and it's the reason a lot of relationships die. Point number 4, she didn't change. you did. I had a client come to me and say, things have changed in my relationship, and I asked what changed. He'd been married for 3 years, and in the beginning they were having sex multiple times a week. She was warm, playful, affectionate. She had that sparkle in her eye when she looked at him, but over the last few months the sex had dropped, her tone changed, and she felt distant. And here's what most guys miss. It's easy to assume that she changed when in reality he had changed. He'd gained weight, he wasn't as driven as he used to be, he stopped taking care of himself, and the relationship started feeling like it had just lost its edge. Over the next 6 months, we rebuilt the basics, the fitness and energy, the purpose, drive, confidence, leadership at home, and we also started bringing back those fun emotional dates. And as he got back on track, the relationship started to come back too, because he became the guy that she originally responded to. And the lesson here is getting the girl is the easy part, but keeping the attraction alive, that takes maintenance. If at the start of the relationship you were a Ferrari and you slowly turn into a Toyota, obviously you can't expect her to feel the same. And the truth here, gents, is that love is not conditional. It's determined by value, and that value is determined by biology. So although you need to have aligned values, good communication, shared goals, and so on and so forth, if there isn't that raw attraction, everything is just going to be harder. It's the first thing that drew you two together when you started dating. Now you may be thinking, what do I look out for specifically when I'm choosing the right girl to date? Well, I made a whole video outlining the exact green flags to look out for in the woman that you are potentially going to date. Go and watch it here.